everyone, and welcome to another informative episode of the Speakins Managing Change series, where we bring you reliable information from the world's finest of experts. My name is Himanshu, and I hope you are staying strong during these testing times and you and your families are keeping safe. It's a pleasure to announce that our expert for today is joining us all the way from Rome, Italy. He is a senior expert with his consulting and services domains concerning policy, his services for employment, policies and services for social inclusion, social innovation policies and practices, cultural industries, heritage and local development, and European Union structural funds. He is also the co-founder of the Impact Hub Roma, which is a space designed to facilitate the creation of sustainable impact through collaboration. He's also served as a senior consultant at the World Bank, where he was the contact person supporting Italian Ministry of Labor and Social Policies in the implementation of the National Plan Against Policy and Social Inclusion. It is my pleasure and an honor to welcome Mr. Andrea Pugliese. A very warm welcome, Andrea, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. The pleasure is mine, and I really love to discuss with you about what is going on. So our countries are so far away one from the other, but we are all together facing this severe challenge. And so also for me, it's important to break the isolation, because like you, I'm at home blocked with my family. Now it's 41 days that in Rome we are locked. In the north of Italy, there is 10 days more, because Milan area, you know, the most injured, where the virus is more severe, more killing more people. So they close 2 weeks before, 10 days before us.
I really hope the situation gets better very soon, and thank you so much once again for joining us. As you rightly mentioned, we are all in this together, even though our countries are so far apart. So just, looking forward to it, and pleasure is entirely ours for you to have joined us. So jumping right into it, Andrea, I mean, there has been a lot of concerns regarding the current situation regarding the, COVID-19. Italy, unfortunately, has been in the news for all the wrong reasons. We've seen, massive outbreaks in Italy, and so many people have already been affected. So let's not our keep, let's not keep our viewers waiting for it and jump right into the first question that I have for you. My first question for you is, although this entire coronavirus and the COVID-19 situation, it all started, the genesis of it was in China, which is, thousands of miles away from Italy. But somehow, in a very short time, Italy became the hotbed of COVID-19, with thousands being already affected. And, as you mentioned that you are entering the 40th day of lockdown as of now, 40th day of quarantine. How do you think that the situation becomes so grim for Italy in such a short period of time? Was there any miscalculation or error from, did you underestimate the situation, or, did it somehow miss it? Where did Italy actually go wrong?
Yes, it's all you said, plus some Italian specific characteristic. Now, the recent studies show that the patient zero in Europe was German. Yes, German, in the south of Germany. And some Italians got it for business, in business relation, because especially the north of Italy, Milan, in the area is strictly connected to Germany, because Europe now, from a business point of view, it's like a single market. So we produce many technical components. So the relationship are very strong. And Italy, the difference in Italy is that our population is older, and as you know, the oldest people are more affected we are very social, much more social, not online, in real life. We touch each other, we embrace each other. We often, these old people live in families. So the elderly people are our main pillar of our welfare state. Also, it's usual that old people take care of children and so on, when families works. So especially the north of Italy, also the population, probably like in some area of India. So from Milan to Venice, it's like a single town. Technically are different region and municipality, but there are 20 million people living packed in a small space in some ways, where the highest density is. Probably, as you said, we made some mistakes. I'm sure that the system, the health system, the hospital were not ready for that. Nobody, nobody was ready probably in the world, but in Italy it started from oldest people. On the contrary, in Germany, they started from the youngest because it's in the Alps that started, and a lot of young people got the virus during the skiing week. So the epidemic in Austria, Switzerland, and Germany is based in the skiing weeks, the holidays, young people in February, more or less. Italy, the boom was the carnival parties at the end of February, where a lot of people had this huge parties. Even old people used to celebrate carnival. It's a silly ceremony, but it's a lot of fun, all together. And this is uh, probably one of the detonation. So the place where the booming of the virus. And then, as you said, we did some mistakes. Probably the lockdown should be declared before, uh, and especially in the north. Uh, Probably there is a effect that everybody said. Apparently, we have a highest dead rate. If you watch at our numbers, it's probably close to the 9%. But all our scientists say that is a wrong design, a wrong presentation, because probably the people with the virus are 10 times more. That means that the percentage, the killing rate, is 1%, as everywhere. But are so many that we cannot calculate the contagious, how the contagious spread around. And I have many friends that in February and in March had strange fevers, cough, strange flus, and they think that they got the virus in a not dangerous way, but nobody take counted them. So numbers are not so, the only numbers that I like to listen are the people that exit from the hospital, from the ventilation, these are the only objective numbers, not the people that die, because probably we had twice people are dying because maybe people die at home and they are not in the numbers. They died maybe 2 weeks ago. They got the funeral and they go. So this is the situation. So in all the country, a lot of old people weaker, and on the other way, our habits, social habits, that are very social, much more than the Northern European countries. As you know, they are a little bit colder than us.
No, I do understand that, and that's actually a very interesting point because it somehow becomes very relevant for some of the South Asian regions as well, because here also there are a lot of families which are staying there are very close knit families. We do not practice as much social distancing as probably some of the Western nations do. So that's why the scare of this coronavirus and scare of this entire COVID-19 becomes all the more more deadlier than for close knit communities. So very interesting
Yeah.
point there, and it's very very interesting to know about how the situation got so
Yeah.
bad in Italy. Thanks. Coming to my second question that I have for you is, so I mean obviously everyone has been very severely impacted by the coronavirus situation, but one of the biggest impacts that is being felt is among the corporates. What and this is since we are in the business of connecting corporates with other corporates. What do you think has been the overall impact on the corporates in the region that you are in right now? How are companies, startups, all those how are all those different organizations battling the situation and ensuring that their businesses are not shut? They do not have to lay off a lot of employees. They just somehow just survive the situation and keep running. How are they ensuring that?
Um, Here in few days, the 70% of the labor force moved to smart working. So I think that the private companies immediately, so they were well organized for that, and they moved to smart working solution. I should before I have to tell you something before. agriculture is not locked. Transportation are not locked. So, so the supply chain is saved. You can move everything you want around Italy now. And that's important. We have no food shortage. The price are not erasing are as before. But the problem that we have not enough people that goes in the fields, for example, to pick the strawberries. Sorry, sorry, a second.
I think there seems to be some network connectivity issue at Andrea's end. He'll be joining us very shortly. So sorry to keep you waiting. Hi.
I'm back. Sorry, I apologize with.
No, no, not at all an issue. I hope everything is okay though.
I really apologize with all of you. Sorry. Sometimes happen technical problem, but now I solved it.
Not at all.
No, I go straight to the point. I say that the basic infrastructure are working, and probably the 40% of the primary secondary sector too. So transformation are open and they work. What's happening that, in my opinion, is deeply changing permanently the organization of work. Is a kind of organizational experiment what is going on. Many companies already before the COVID thought about smart working, but they never got the chance to try it. It was complicated, it was expensive. Now they must. And I have many feedback from the business community. For example, they discover that live meetings are not so necessary. They are already changing the 2021 budget, canceling exhibitions, big meetings. They are moving the budget to build a new platform for online events, for example. So I think that all the business of the events, corporate events, you know, the meeting, the exhibition, will be destroyed by what is going on. Probably 50% less, but permanently, because a lot of companies understood that they can save a lot of money in traveling, in organizing, in doing things. Yes, okay, we need a physical relation, and I agree with you, and it will be always necessary, but probably before was too much. Often these events were more parties than corporate events. So it's changing the nature of, for example, that sector. It's changing the nature of training. Training is completely changing, and I'm already so I arrived at the lockdown with I teach in many master classes, and my master classes were in the middle, halfway, and now the training institution and university moved to platform, and I'm going, and I'm also learning. I'm also learning how to do it in a different way. But in my opinion, this model will be permanent. So I suppose probably there will be 20-30% less live teaching in the future, because they discover that online teaching is effective, it's cheaper, is more inclusive, because you can reach people from all over the world or from all over Italy, even poorest people, because they don't have to pay to go to Milan, to Rome. So it's cheaper, as you know, no? If you have 1,000 users, can be cheaper the price than for 100 users, and everything is changed, and we are just at the beginning. In my opinion, I work a lot in the cultural industry, and cultural industries are prototyping now a lot of new solution to virtual museums, try to transmit cultural values, even business storytelling. I work a lot in business storytelling, how to create empathy in business community through stories and through the heritage in some ways, the story of the founders of the buildings, of the product and everything. And it's moving. They are just prototyping. I see a lot of bad things, but also some good ideas. The good ideas will win, and the system will change. So at the end, summary, a lot of people are dying, a lot of people are raising with new opportunities, and the idea of putting in touch the product with the clients through digital interface in all the sectors.
That's actually very. So one thing that really surprised me was, how your supply chain network and transportation network, everything is working, because I mean, in terms of some of the countries, everything is being locked down. Transportation is locked, and except for the essential services like your bread, butter, and some of the things that you groceries, everything, nothing is available. You cannot go out to buy new clothes. You cannot go out to buy. You cannot even go out to get things as simple as a haircut. I mean, all the non-essential services have all been shut down. It's, I mean, good to hear that, how.
Yeah. Yes, it's so it's half and half. The B2B is going B2B, business to business. Okay, business to customers only for primary things, but it's quite flexible in my opinion. And now we expect in the next week, 10 days, that for today bookshops opened. After 40 days, today bookshops and children clothes shops, bookshops, and animal shops, animal food, and so on, opened again, and some other things. So it's half and half. And I read some reports, not official reports, that the 60% of companies, production company, are working in some way, because there are some exceptions by law, like the probably 35-40%. Then you can ask for a permit, and you have to guarantee all the social distance, the cleaning, and so on, obviously. And if you guarantee all this, they give you the permits. They're quite flexible. It's not so official, because they have the fear that people start to go out. But so we have a kind of soft lockdown. Can be the proper term.
I do totally understand that. So I mean, so as I have a, I now that I've been listening to you, and I'm sure that I and our viewers here have have a fair idea about what the situation in Italy is right now. How are the people responding to it? I mean, how is the general population in Italy? How are they responding to the current scenario? Do you sense a lot of panic, or are people responding very well to the government advisories, and just following the instructions that have been given out to them? What's the general mood there?
We had different phase, and also some difference in the geographical things. In Rome, where I live, in the center south of Italy, the numbers are not so high. I know some people with COVID, and I also have some friend of friends that died, but very few people have the direct relation. So the panic, we never had panic anywhere in Italy. What's happened was that just at the beginning, when there were just voices of lockdown, that from the north, many students that go in the north for studying at the university, because North Italian university have a better reputation sometimes, or are better organized, more international. So there are many people from the center south that study in the north. That night was a night. During the night, they escaped. We are talking about probably 40, 50,000 people that moved by train straight to the south. And there are some evidence, and not so many, that some of them were ill and they spread a little bit the virus in the south. But center south, as I told you, less numbers. One of the hypotheses is that the virus is stronger where the air is more polluted.
Okay.
Because the pollution keep the virus in the air, but it's just virologist hypothesis. But at the end, the evidence that the central south is more clean, clean in terms of air. Not daily. People are clean everywhere, but the air. But this is just an evidence. But people, generally speaking, are reacting very well. They are reacting very well. The solidarity also in building, it's very strong. Usually there is the youngest make shopping for the oldest, even in the flats, different in buildings. As everybody knows, we sing on the balcony quite often. That's true. It's not a joke. From the beginning, yes, but it's a kind of common solidarity. It's the idea that we are all with the same problem. It's a way to break the isolation, and that's true. That's true. It's not a joke. But in the north, so people are calm and very diligent, but they are smiling much less than us. So because the fear in the north, in Milan, it's there are some small municipalities that had an increase of death compared to the last year of 7,000%. It's amazing how many people are dying in some valley, small valleys. There is this problem of the elderly, the house for old people that are really affected. And so at the end, people are not bad. So we react quite bad. I'm a little bit worried now because we know that at least 3-4 weeks more. And if you give good news, because we have some good news, people relax a little bit. They are less, yes, they put less attention. They go much more around. It's not easy. Also from a psychological point of view, I have many friends that are single person. They live alone in a flat. And to be alone and they are young, but maybe you are 70, 80 alone. Maybe you have food. You are also quite healthy, but the psychological approach, it's really dangerous. And there are many free toll numbers that giving psychological support now, because this is important. The voluntary, there are huge example of voluntary activities of people going around, talking with people, making shopping and keeping medicine. So we are trying, but I am proud of my of my Italian friends, generally speaking. Not every day. So I'm happy because I can work, I can talk with you. I'm in this this time, this empathy with you and all your friends that are connected give me a lot of energy also, and positive vibes, and the idea that things are going on around the world.
So that's a very very optimistic message as well. And I'm actually very excited and actually very surprised to hear one thing that you mentioned here. Although it's a hypothesis, but you mentioned somewhere in your in what you mentioned that it, it pollution is some pollution is something which probably some of the scientists are linking to the rise in number of cases with COVID-19, because that is one theory that has not been very much around. So that is really food for thought. I mean, I know it's a hypothesis as of now, but it really could be something for nations which are really polluted cities across the world. I mean, it really could be something they can think about. And another thing that you've also mentioned, which is very useful, that probably is a takeaway for all of us here, is also to be more engaging, to be more interacting with the community members out there. I mean, not physically, but if maybe a phone call or a video chat, or mediums like the one we are chatting right now. These are some of the modes in which they can get in touch with them. Very very interesting. So in fact, I was going to jump to my next question, but I have a very very interesting question from one of our viewers who have joined us. And he's asking that in the previous question you've mentioned that public transport is available in Italy, right?
Yes, yes.
How are you controlling the spread of COVID-19 if public transport is available? That's a very interesting question. I think this question is by Mr. Pandu Janga. That's yes.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Okay, I need a step back. To go around, to exit, even for shopping, even to buy the bread, we need a certificate. So there is a certificate that you download, you print it, you write on the certificates the reason, or the day, your name, and why are you around. Because there are some admitted reasons to go around. For example, shopping in the area of your house. You cannot go shopping in another municipality. So shopping in a walking distance, 1 kilometer from so shopping with your dog for the okay, pissing with your dog. So dog is another reason. Not sport, physical movement. You can go running around, not in parks. Parks are all closed, but it is admitted to go alone in just around your block. You're very obviously all of these things must be done with the social distance, with the mask, and if you buy all the supermarket give you even gloves and so on. Then another reason to go around is business, because if your business is one of the business that can work, you must go. If you're a doctor, for example, a nurse, but also you are in agriculture, you have to go to your orange fields to collect your orange. So all these are a specific reason. There are several reasons. You need that. With this, you can travel. So if I have my business, I want to give you an example. I'm an accountant, and yes, I'm at home. I work with the smart working, but I need some papers that are in my office. My office is in the center of Rome. I write down my paper. I say, okay, I'm in smart working, but I need these papers, and I take the underground or the bus, and I go even by car if I want. In Rome, I can in all the cities the local transportation has been reduced. For example, in Rome, they close at 9 p.m. Before was midnight. So at 9 p.m., all the buses and the underground stop it. They open at 6 in the morning, they close at 9. In the buses, you cannot go in from the front door. You cannot, because in this way, though, they keep the driver safer. You can also, and there is a maximum number of people. Probably in a bus could be 10 10, 12, I don't know. In the other ground, only seated people. You cannot stand up. You cannot stand up. So for the train, it's even easier because all the train station have police, soldier, that for each train, they control your document, the reason why are you traveling, that must be written down. And it's not only okay, you can travel, but they can not only refuse you, but they can also give a fee to you. Or so declaring something false, can be. So actually now you just pay a fee, but after the quarantine, you can go to the court. You can go to the even in jail for some things. If you have COVID, if you know to be positive and you travel, after you go to jail. So we use it this way. I know, for example, a different approach in France. I have many friends in France. That in France they say that you can go around respecting all the rules and blah blah blah. For 1.5 hours. So you write down every time you exit on the paper, you write the time and they control. If you respect the rule, you can do everything, but just for 1.5 hours. And this is another approach. We don't have the timing on the paper. No, they just ask the reasons. And obviously, as I told you, even the train system is reduced. Not the one for gods, only the people. So the train for civil traffic, for travelers, it's reduced probably minus 70%. Just, but trains are still going, and on the highways you see mainly trucks transporting food and milk and even machinery or Amazon things. Amazon is booming. All this business of e-commerce distance. But Amazon had big problem in Italy because they have a strong strike because the workers were not, they say that they were not guaranteed in terms of protection. Now it's blocked. Now they are working again, but they had 2 weeks at least of strikes. And so this is the way they organize. So everything is controlled, and they control. I see every day the police, local police or police in controlling people every day. For me, it's 6 weeks that I don't drive. I just walk around the corner. But for example, next week, I tell you a small, it's not a story, but it's something real. I'm jailed here and I need to go out, and I had an idea, a fantastic idea. I go to donate my blood in hospital.
Oh, wow.
And if you donate your blood, you can go. You can travel. Yes, it's one of the reason. Donation of blood donation. It's one of the reason of. And obviously, I go to donate in the best hospital in the center of Rome, in a beautiful place, so I can finally watch this fantastic city empty. That is probably, it's something incredible. And I go to donate blood. No, I obviously I want to donate. It's my duty. So, but I admit to you, to your friends, that donation is a reason to go out. And finally, I will have half day out, and I'm already happy. Next Monday is my donation day.
Oh, that is phenomenal. That is actually phenomenal. And another thing which is really phenomenal is, how the public transportation system has managed it so well in Italy. I mean, and people are actually listening to it. So that is fantastic in itself. So I mean, kudos to whoever is, kudos to the administration, and kudos to the people who are, out there listening to every single instruction. That is absolutely phenomenal. So, I mean, coming over to the next question, and that was a very good question, by the way. So coming to the next question that I have is, uh, I mean, in future, let's just talk about future when this everything is, going to get over. This COVID pandemic is, finally going to, take a side. what impact will it leave in terms of on the businesses in Italy, on the culture in Italy, and on the people in general? What is the long term impact that you are that you think?
I think that at least for 1-2 years, the impact will be very strong. And probably the mantra, the key word is social distance. Social distance will be the main word. That means for us that probably less crowded destination will be preferred. And small villages, bed and breakfast will win against hotel, because hotel it's crowded. Probably people will rent an apartment in a seaside or mountain destination. Mountain will win on seaside, because on mountains you can walk alone. You can respect the social distance much better than on seaside, on or other kind of activities. Probably cultural destination will change the organization of museums and attraction, because they will have longer opening time to, in some way, to reduce the pressure of the people. Contingency, the people, I don't know, 300 people every hour, just to make an example, with an increase of the online reservation, because in this way you can, with the platform, you can easily manage the entrance. And even the format will be different, because if you make a longer opening time, you can also invent new format, like something in the night, or for families, or dinner at museum, or I don't know. So this is not only effect of reducing the people per hour, but it can be an opportunity for some of them to invent new experience in the museum. I'm an experienced designer for museums. I work as an experienced designer often, even for business. So I worked with the Lamborghini car museum, for example, or other churches and everything. So, and I see that there was already the tendency to create more active place in historical heritage, not only place to see, but place to live. Place where I can tell stories on my Instagram or Facebook profile. And this will be much more and more. At the beginning, just the beginning, will be the same in India. For this year, I think that the international tourism is killed. We will have Italians in Italy, but not all the Italians in Italy, but in the Rome surrounding 2 hours by car, only Romans. The people from Venice will probably be tourists around Venice, or 2-3 hours distance, not so more, because there is this block to be open also to foreign people, foreign tourists. We will have very few foreign, and I call them the adventurers, more adventurous, or foreign, because in Italy we have many British, German, that they have houses. They bought houses. There is an area in Tuscany that there are so many English that we call the area Chianti Shire, because Chianti is the name of the wine. Shire, is the typical desinence in English. So the Chianti Shire, where Sting lives there, the singer, and so on. And also George Clooney has a villa up there. And these, we have to welcome them. They will be the first to come back, because they have a house and they feel safe. So Italians in the areas, and few foreign people with already strong relation with us, because probably people will not trust in the idea to go in a hotel. Probably we will have an increasing of camping, so to camp, and also camper, the van camping, because in some way they are small houses. You feel safer than bungalows, this kind of things, much more than club, village, big hotel, swimming pools with 2,000 people. That's for 2 years, absolutely not. And this is, in my opinion, the idea. And what we have to do is to keep alive the relation with the destination without having people there. So through building digital reputation is one way, creating a relation with people, because people like us in this moment, I have to confess you that I have a strong relation with India. I traveled many times in your country. I love I love India, and I'm very pleased to be here with you. But what I remember more of India are the Indians. So yes, I've been in Taj Mahal. I love Taj Mahal, but what I love of your country are the people, are people, and that's is the key to create empathy, to create memories, and to survive in this probably 1 year, 2 years probably, where everything is in some way limited and blocked.
That is really fantastic, and I mean, next time you are in India, it'll be happy to host you. It'll be a pleasure to let's catch
We
once
should
or twice.
invent some reasons
Yes.
to come.
No, I do get that, but no, really, really interesting insights on that. And another topic which we've been really worried about is how the economic aspect is going to be around this thing. I mean, given that the European market is already very much integrated, and then we also hear the news of this Brexit is happening this year, and it's still under the way, and then coronavirus thing came up. Do you think that and I'm talking not just about Italy, and I'm talking about Europe in general. Do you think the situation of COVID-19 combined with Brexit will worsen the situation even further?
Situation is not good because different countries actually have different approach in inventing solution, economical solution and support for business sector, unemployment, and all the fact that COVID is putting on the table. I'm always positive, and I think that some response will arrive. And European Union was already weak before. Not, in my opinion, obviously, not on, so much for the UK Brexit. That is much more a problem for them. We never, so we are worried for British now because to be out of the EU now is a chaos for them. But they have never been the EU enthusiastic. So Brexit, in my opinion, can be overcome by EU easily. But what the worst part is that the idea of Europe is weak in many countries. Nationalisms are winning election government, and even in Italy we have this problem we had in the past. Now it's better, but really probably just Angela Merkel and a few others in the Scandinavian countries, also Portugal are very EU enthusiastic, but few, and we are looking for a new model. I hope that they will be responsible, and I think that crises are necessary to also to strengthen relation, and this is a moment of strong discussion, and I think that something will happen positive, so we will be better, more European after, but it's just my wish. I have many friends working in Brussels. I participate to many projects also, and I see that around Europe, we know that we need each other. For example, I tell you that one of the reasons why the lockdown in the North Italian companies is decreasing is that in Germany they don't have enough mechanical part to build cars because in Italy are made. some components, not all obviously, but there are hundreds of mechanical components that are made in Italy, and we cannot, if we don't produce our components, they cannot make Mercedes and BMW or these cars. And the relation is, it's my generation. I grew up before and after, so I lived the arrival of the euro, the common currency, and this is a dream that cannot be destroyed. I think that for economical and also for social reason, and the connection is very strong. So social responsibility in many companies, it's very, very strong now in Europe, and I love this. But I know are just my wishes. So the reaction is coming. They are discussing very, very they are kicking each other a little bit, but probably we are waiting solution. We should talk about that in 1 month again.
I do get that. I mean, I do understand the situation. Really do hope the situation gets better there, because, everyone is watching the European Union right now. All eyes are there. So let's hope everything, pans out for good. I mean, I know I've already, taken a lot of your time, but, just before we end this interview, I have just one small and one very important question about, and this has been one of the most, this has been the question that everyone, seems to be asking, that the leadership in Italy. And when I talk about leadership, it is not just the political leadership, it's also the corporate leadership. They've been very transparent in terms of, communicating with the people there, with the employees there in the companies. And as a result, Italy, the situation in Italy has been somehow very well, very well controlled. That's what I would say. The transparency level of leadership is, globally acclaimed. And how, I mean, can you share some light on this? How did this happen? How are the leaders communicating with their employees? How are the leaders communicating with their people? What are the messages that they are giving out? How are they, keeping them updated about every single thing? And as a result of which, Italy is now on a, Italy is now doing its best to, flattening the curve and keeping everyone positive. How is it happening?
I joke a little bit, telling that we are lucky that we don't have strong leader. So our leaders are not so strong. And starting with the politician, political leaders now are very weak. Some are better, some other very basic and not so people don't trust in leaders. And for this reason, no one has the strength to keep the population on the wrong side. So there is a kind of self-regulation, and we trust probably more in science. We trust probably more. Okay, the only wise man is the president of the Republican president. He's not a leader, but he's a wise old man that really keep calm, and he's the first one to say, I'm passing my Eastern time alone in my big palace, but I'm alone like you. Or he go in a public conference telling, forgive me for my hair cutting, because I, like you, I don't have anyone cutting my hairs. So that helps a lot. But so this is was not a joke. We have a balance of powers that, in my opinion, helps a lot. And we don't have the strong man or strong woman like in German. In terms of companies, I saw great reaction of many companies. For example, we didn't talk about that, but the government gives subsidies to companies that had to leave people at home, and also some money, not a lot, but to freelance like me, consultant. For example, I can talk about myself. I don't have any worry to tell. 600 euro a month for 1 or 2 months is not clear, but it's really, really the first time in history that freelance consultant can get something from the state, because usually all the subsidies goes to unemployed people, to permanent workers. Just to tell you, many companies, the government gave the 80 for permanent workers, the 80% of the salary. But many companies put on top the other 20%, because they really need to keep the people with them, because also this is a time where people also think what to do in the future, maybe to change job. So is a time where talents must be seduced or must be keep it with you, because it's a strange time. I know many people trying to understand if their company will survive, and what they can do in the future. They are watching around to change job. This is so I mean that leadership in companies means to keep the team together now, with the right word, with the necessary sacrifice for everybody. Many managers decrease their salary officially. Many companies, not everywhere, but many companies say that publicly. Probably many others did it without telling anything to people. I know small entrepreneur that give the salary to the people that stay home, and they don't get any money, zero. The owners suspended any benefit for them for 2 months, 3 months, but they want to guarantee this is a way to express leadership now, because it's concrete, means I stay with you, means we work together, and we have many examples of this all around Italy, and also many companies extended the insurance. So in Italy we don't have the insurance like in USA. It's the public system, the welfare system, the health system is free for all. But you can have an insurance that give more benefits. And many companies extended to the COVID this insurance. And so I see around, that's in my way, my point of view is that this is the way to express leadership now. To be with your staff, to put the stuff together, to collect their needs from the staff, and to find solution. Because if you find a solution for your staff, probably you are working on a new product, on a new service, because the needs of a team are the needs of a population now, are the same. So is this kind of bottom-up approach probably is one of the best. There are there is a startup in Italy that invented a device that can be applied, put on top of a diving mask, to have to make a ventilator from a diving mask. Okay, wow. You know the full mask, not the small one, the big one is that they printed it with a 3D printer. You can print it and put on top and put the oxygen. There is an entrance and an exit, and they're using a scuba mask for the hospitals. That's fantastic. And this things came when leadership and people, even if they are at home, they have a common dream, a common purpose, but probably the purpose cannot be such a, with a strategy, nobody knows in 2 years what will happen. But find solution for now probably will last.
That's phenomenal. I mean, one major takeaway from this, as you were mentioning, was how much faith people have in science. People tend to have more faith in science, than just blindly following whatever the leaders are saying.
May I say one more small thing? A lot of people think that we are a Catholic country. Italy. There is, but believe me, probably now no more than 20-25% of the population is still Catholic, really Catholic, that go to the church, believe, and so on. Probably now, okay, the Catholic are there, they pray, and that's great. Also praying, I think that give you relief. But it's good that the 70% believe more in science than in praying. Uh, you can combine the two things, but
I know.
I see, and also there is a strong social control. If someone is stupid, maybe go in the shop without a mask, all the others block him or her. So there is a social control that you don't need the police. Three people shouting are enough to, to push a person out of a shop. I saw this scene. People tell me, you are crazy. But I'm healthy, but I don't care if you are healthy. You don't know if you are healthy. Go out. And because the studies, so at the end, I see more faith in the science than in the destiny. So
That is that is that is really the need of the hour. I mean, some of the places I'm hearing, people involving themselves in a lot of stupid stuff because, someone said it or, all that stuff. But faith in science and faith in doctors and faith in technology is something, that will eventually, take us out of this. And, as you rightly mentioned, my major takeaways from this were obviously one is in faith in science, second is obviously the encouragement and involvement with people so that you can maintain and you can you can create an atmosphere of solidarity and encouragement for others as well. So these have been phenomenal, and I'm sure people who've been listening to us are really inspired by this. We've been seeing all sorts of news, as an outsider, as someone who are not living in Italy right now. We've been hearing only bad things about Italy, that so many people got infected in Italy, so many people are dying in Italy. Italy has the highest proportion of this thing. But the reality of the situation is something for which you've really enlightened us with the information. You've really told us how well the situation is being maintained in Italy, and had it not been for the people in Italy, the situation might have been very worse. So thank you so much for that, Andrea. I mean, that was really fantastic, and I think we are. I think I'll, with your permission, I'll end this interview. And to all our viewers here, I really hope you've really enjoyed, and you've really learned a lot from Andrea. He's been a fantastic guest here. He's been very kind enough to join us here today, and and on behalf of myself and on behalf of my company, on behalf of my viewers, Andrea, I wish you and your family very good health. I really hope for your health and safety. And thank you so much, Andrea, for joining us. And have a great evening ahead.